Welcome to another episode of the Muffed Sports Show. I'm your host, Hayden Haynes, and join me back again is Mr. Cody Hart. Thank you for coming back, Cody.
Yeah.
And Seth
I'm
Killen.
back.
Yes, sir.
And we're glad to have Cody back. He was a little ill last week, like we mentioned on the pod, but we're thankful that he's here feeling better. Seth,
Yep.
too. Everybody's back for
Yeah.
the normal schedule show. And
Normal sketchy.
just want to get a little rowdy in the chat because guess what we got this week? We got real football.
Let's
go. Football is
I'm gonna
back.
run through the brick
It's
wall
about
for you,
time.
coach.
Even though it's some backups, we're still
Hey,
lit.
We're
We're
taking
still lit.
anything, man. We're taking anything.
Yeah.
It's NFL football. We're
We're
ready.
taking it.
I don't
I'm
care if
ready.
I'm watching them do the halfback dive, play 22 over and over and over. That's
over
all
and
I
over
need.
and again.
And I'm gonna love it because it's football.
Who was running? There was somebody crazy that was running fullback that I saw in practice. I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was on the Steelers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Give
well,
me
no,
Kobe
I
Mike
think wait,
Allstott.
I think it was Darnell Washington. They had him
Oh.
at fullback,
that could be a
which
little
was kind of
menace.
crazy.
A little 6'7"
He was just
fullback.
blocking, but that's kind of cracked.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna dive into all the good NFL talk that's been going on the last week or two, but we're also gonna mention a few things in the college football world. We have a list of top 10 SEC conference games we want to get into later, and we're gonna also touch on the Olympics team USA men's basketball, how they fared against Serbia in their first official game, and their future matchup against South Sudan on, I believe, will be tomorrow, so Wednesday. But for everybody else that will be listening, it will be either already happened or you'll be watching it as you're listening, hopefully. But the last thing we'll do is what we've been doing recently is the fantasy football would you rathers. Going to kind of keep going into that, so people can give their takes on like TikTok, Reels, all the other things. Let us know in the comments who you're rocking with, who you're drafting.
yeah.
We know everybody's drafting really close, probably in the next couple of weeks, maybe already drafted, but we know those dynasty drafts happen first. But we're getting into the real regular drafts coming up. We got ours at the end of the month. We try to wait to the last minute because there's been injuries, and we know that we don't want to deal with those players on your team, and then they happen to be injured right before the season. So. Dynasty didn't really get that choice. So.
Don't have to subtweet anybody, guys. He's talking about me.
Yeah, Seth had Roman Wilson, who unfortunately suffered an ankle injury today and
Carted
off the field. Yeah, we don't know any further updates, but we'll hope Roman Wilson's okay. Seth also had to deal with Ricky Pearsall, but he's back, looking like Drewski getting off the line.
God.
And then CeeDee Lamb is closing in on a deal. It looks like apparently he might get around $35 million, but that also could be false reports. Who knows what to really think about that? And really, that's just some stuff we've been thinking about. But we'll dive into the main show today, and we want to start obviously with NFL, which like we said, we get football this week, which is
Let's
Thursday.
go, dude. That's so
that,
hype.
Was always started off with a Hall of Fame game, and this year it is the Chicago Bears versus the Houston Texans. Now, that game will probably see no starters. I want to say I don't think the Bears are playing a single starter. Texans probably won't either. Now, off the top of our head, I didn't put this in the script. Do we think we know who's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame? Because if not, I'm gonna look it up right now.
If I had to guess, wait, is it a player on both teams or is it just anybody?
No, these are just people for this year that I got. I'm about to look it up right now. So
Big
we have
Ben?
no,
Big Ben, yeah.
no. We do have Dwight Freeney, the defensive end. He actually was on the Falcons Super Bowl run in 2016 before he retired. He was on the Colts for a long time. Randy Gradeshare, linebacker. Devin Hester, the all-pro returner from the Bears, who, shout out the Bears, will be there.
Shout out to Bear
and wide receiver. And then Andre Johnson, wide receiver from the Texans. What a legend he was, man. He was kind of like really underrated, honestly, but
he was
well deserved. Obviously, it paid off. He's a Hall of Famer. And then Steve McMichael, defensive tackle, and then Julius Peppers, defensive end, who wreaked havoc for a long time with I believe the Panthers and the Bears, and I remember him very well because Falcons got thrown around by him a little bit. But those are the guys getting inducted. But yeah, that's really it. We just wanted to address that and say Hall of Fame game is literally the most basic game you'll watch. It's literally going to be the same play over and over. A bunch of third string guys, a bunch of fourth string guys trying to make the roster. But if you are into ball and you're loving it like us, we'll be tuned in probably a little bit here and there. And I'm just going to want to turn it on just to see
see football,
the clips of the speeches of the Hall of Fame, and then some
Come
real football, some live action, some actual game.
Some head-to-head football, baby.
Yes, sir. The good stuff. But do we let's see, do we have any other thoughts on that? I mean, really, besides that, preseason kicks off next week with all of our teams. I think everybody else plays 3 preseason games, while the Bears and the Texans will be playing 4 because they get this Hall of Fame
They
game.
get the Hall of Fame game, yeah.
Other news in the NFL: 2 quarterbacks who we've been talking about got officially paid. Now, Tua Tagovailoa did get paid finally 4 years, $212 million. Makes him, I believe, 3rd or 4th on the list, tied with Jared Goff.
I believe it's
for
4th.
$53 million. It's like 53.1.
Yeah.
So he's technically like $100,000 more than Jared Goff, I think. But he got the bag, and crazy number, but even crazier. Jordan
crazier,
Love, hours after that, got paid the most ever in the history of the NFL for a quarterback, 4 years, $220 million. I believe that is quite the bag.
Crazy, dude.
Now, we like Jordan Love here. Cody drafted him in the dynasty.
I love Love.
He loves Love, and we low-key love some Love too, but we got to acknowledge might be the craziest deal this offseason, just because 100%. Of the fact, not like he's not good, but it's like he only played pretty good half of the season, really towards the end. So what do we think, guys? Was this like definitely worth it, or is it still too early to tell?
I thought it was a little too much. Like, he could have went around maybe where Jared Goff is, somewhere around there. Like, not as much, but I mean, he's
number 1's crazy.
Number 1 is crazy.
For him. I mean, they want him there. So I mean, they said, "Here's that bag, and do what you
produce."
Yeah. I mean, I think he's good. I think he's got all the talent. He definitely took a big leap from what we saw whenever he barely played, before Rodgers officially left. But I think he's going to be fine. I just don't know, like you said, Cody, the top paid quarterback ever it's a lot to live up to. We know that this changes every offseason. I'm sure next offseason somebody will get the bag next, like CJ Stroud or someone will get paid super early, or who knows, something crazy. But I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. I personally would say he's around like 50 million flat kind of money, maybe 52, 53. But obviously this market keeps growing at a rapid rate, and we do know that like the 60 million number has been thrown around for even Dak Prescott. So that's coming up. It's coming up. And then I heard somebody say, "Oh man, Brock Purdy's gonna have to get paid. What if he enters the 70 million threshold?"
What?
For Brock Purdy.
There's no way.
Dude.
Now, that's in a couple of seasons, though. So the market's going up because how it works is NFL makes more money. The TV deals keep going up. They're able to pay, like, they're going to pay players more. The cap space is more. So they're going to be able to do that eventually. But it's just going to be, who is it? I personally think CJ Stroud will be the first $70 million player, if anybody. I think in a couple of seasons, he could get that.
I would definitely pay him $70 million.
And that's a lot of money, but like that's what the NBA is kind of like. They pay everybody a ridiculous amount of money. We've already talked about this, how what's his name, Jordan Poole, got like the same deal as, I believe, Justin Jefferson or whatever. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, the NFL just doesn't pay as much as the NBA. Obviously, NBA has less players, so they can kind of pay more. That's just kind of how I feel like it goes, obviously. But to say all that, we wanted to do our top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. So we just talked about Tua and Jordan Love. We've already mentioned on the show Trevor Lawrence got paid $55 million a year. So that is basically tied for Jordan Love and for first. And then Joe Burrow's also up there, tied for first. They're all $55 million. And then you have Tua at 53.1 and Jared Goff at 53. So out of those 5, whoever wants to take the reins first, how are we going to rank these quarterbacks? Not necessarily that we're saying they're the top 5 quarterbacks, but we're basing it off of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks. So how would you rank these guys?
Cody, you want to start, man?
Yeah, I'll start. So we're going off by like skill. No.
Whatever you want to say, man. Whatever you're paying this quarterback for, like their team, like right now structured with the weapons around them. Like, who is number 1 based on that plus the skill and whatever else?
On skill, what they got around it, obviously how they produced in the past, big time, in the past seasons. But first, I got Joe Burrow. I mean, been to a Super Bowl, almost won it, was really close to winning it.
Yep.
And the injuries have kind of taken him out, but we know when he's at the top of his game, he can ball.
For sure.
And
Sadly.
same with my Tua, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's healthy, he's a daughter. I mean, he's just going to play around the field. We saw what he did last year with the health. Well, when he was healthy, he got a healthy team around him. 3, I got Jared Goff. I mean, he had an amazing season last year. I don't think he's going to slow down with the team around him. Dan Campbell's an amazing coach. 4, I got Jordan Love. I think I like him more personally than Trevor Lawrence. I think he has a better team around him. I think they'll be able to go farther with the team around him. And then lastly, I got Trevor Lawrence. Not saying that he's not I really like Trevor Lawrence. He's a really good quarterback. I just think all those other 4 quarterbacks have a better situation.
Yeah. Cody, I was just going to go ahead and say real quick, mine's the exact same. The only thing I was going to say was I was really debating on 2 and 3 being flipped. I wound up putting Jared Goff at 2 and 2 at 3, only because Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl and he's won a lot of playoff games. And Tua obviously he's taken the Dolphins twice in a row to the playoffs. He was out that first year because of the concussion. The second year, we know he went into freezing cold weather below 30 degrees in Kansas City and they lost, which is it's pretty hard to win there. But I think Tua will get some dubs here. Hopefully they get some home games in Miami and he'll be that guy. Then I think he could be better than Jared Goff. But for now, I'm going to stay Jared Goff because of what he's already done. Their numbers are pretty similar, but Jared's played a few more years and has won more games. So to say all that, I'll agree with your statement on Jordan Love. I think he is better than Trevor Lawrence because I've seen not enough from Trevor yet to be like he's really what we thought he was going to be coming out of the draft number 1. So he's still good.
Yeah.
I like Lawrence, but Seth, what do you think about the list?
I mean, dude, y'all basically summed it up there. But I would say the one thing for me, I could shuffle 1, 2, and 3 probably up a little bit. Just being maybe putting 2 at 1, Joe Burr at 2.
Really?
Even though, I mean, there's probably just a Steeler in me.
Yeah.
Not really one.
I mean, you could kind of
But-
debate like Joe Burrow's been injury prone for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, he got him to the Super Bowl. And then if we're talking, he got him to the Super Bowl, and then obviously the Lions and the Dolphins haven't been. But I mean, you talk about the people around him too. Like, I mean, yeah, he's got Jamar, but other than that, like, you don't have like Amon-Ra and Jameson
Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, Jahmyr
Laporta.
Gibbs, like Laporta, dude, like come on.
Yeah.
And then even with Tua, it's like Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, A-Chain, like come on.
Yeah. But if we're
So that's
talking
how-
about like strictly just the talent and whoever
And a
I
quarterback,
think we could say Joe Burrow's pretty
Joe
much number
Burrow's probably
1.
on the top. Yeah.
But if we're talking about just like paying these guys based on like what they've done and who is around them and how they fit with those guys, I think it was smart. I know a lot of people are like, there's a whole thing about, and I know me and Cody stick up for Tua, but realistically, Tua is a good, really great quarterback. He put up the most passing yards in the league. He's been top 5 in almost every category for the last couple of years. So what I'm trying to say is you've been hearing arguments like, oh, you can't pay him that much. Well, you can because of what has worked, which was the Tyreek edition, the Mike McDaniel head coach. Like they want to keep everybody together, so you don't have to worry about that. And the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since Dan Marino was their quarterback, basically, or since the 90s.
That's kind of crazy.
Like Tua gives them at least the confidence of we have our guy. He fits with our system and our coach and our wide receivers and running backs. So I mean, I like Tua a lot. I don't think he's the most perfect, like crazy strength. He doesn't have a lot of that. He doesn't have the height, but he is 6'1" still. He is still solid. Like he can run. Now that he's lost some weight, I feel like he'll be able to show that elusiveness again. And I like all the other quarterbacks on that list. I just want to see Trevor Lawrence take that next step, and I think that he will. But he suffered from a lot of drops last year, but he's got to clean up a lot of stuff. His passer rating, or his quarterback rating or whatever, it's like, a great quarterback rating is like 100. 90s are really good. His was, so far his career, 3 years, he's at an 85, which is pretty average. Tua is like a 95. Jared Goff's like a 93, but he's played a few more years. And then Jordan Love's like a 94, something like that. But that's in a limited sample, so it's a little inflated. But to say all that, Trevor Lawrence was last on that list, so that's kind of, and Joe Burrow's obviously like up there. Like I think Joe Burrow's like almost 100 or something. But
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'll pull it up just to be sure. But yeah, I mean, to say all that, that was pretty interesting. Joe Burrow does have a 98.6. Last year was his lowest, or no, his rookie and last year were his lower years. 89.8 rookie year and last year 91. But then he had a Super Bowl year where he went 108.3, and then the year
Yeah, that
after
was crazy.
100.8. So yeah, he's definitely the best.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that?
I think we about covered that one.
All right.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna go into the top 10 SEC conference games of the 2024
Oh,
season. I don't know if I sent that to you or
I
not,
don't. I was
Seth.
about to say. I don't think I have it.
I can try to send it to you real quick, but we can just kind of talk about that for a little bit. So we did, what did we do, guys? We did a couple weeks ago the top 10 games of college football coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this is just specifically for the SEC.
SEC.
Cody, this is up our wheelhouse.
This is our.
Alabama is featured on here a few times.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, they are.
Cody, initially, or I'm going to try to send this to Seth, but
Yep.
before we get into the list, what are you looking forward to off the top of your head the most as far as like all the SEC games? What matchups intrigue you? Because I got a few off of my top three that are coming
Yeah.
up.
I mean, I'll start off with not saying Bama, but one that I'm really interested in is Texas at Texas A&M. That game is going to be
Yeah,
wild because that rivalry game, people forget
It
it
is. Yeah.
played in a long time, so people
yeah,
have. It used to be a huge rivalry back in the day, so
yeah.
definitely interested in that one. Uh, Definitely at the end of the season, I'm excited to see Bama and Oklahoma. That'll be a good one at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
I sent you the
let's
list, by the way, Seth.
That's what I'm refreshing. But it is.
Um, I want to say off the top of my head, Cody, I agree with both of those. I think also a fun one is Tennessee at Oklahoma
that'll be fun.
because Heupel, the coach for Tennessee, went to Oklahoma and played quarterback there. So
Yeah,
he's going back there, and they're both, some historically high-powered offenses. So this is um our graphic here from on three. And now number one, we'll run through the list real quick. Number one is obviously Alabama at Georgia. We talked about
That'll
that
be
a
a crack
lot
game.
just early on
mhm.
in the year. First SEC game for both teams, first SEC game ever for Kalen DeBoer. And then number two, is Cody mentioned, Texas at Texas A&M, the old rivalry that is being rekindled, thankfully. And that
Arch
was,
Manning.
yeah, let's see if he pulls up. And here we go again. Texas is going to be on this list a lot. Georgia at Texas, number 3. That's October 19th. Tennessee at Oklahoma is number 4, which I mentioned. Obviously, there's Alabama, LSU, number 5. That's in Death Valley. And then another Death Valley game, number 6, Ole Miss at LSU. The game we want to go to, it's number
Uh,
7, Missouri at Bama.
oh,
Underrated, sneaky game.
underrated game.
That is kind of lit. That is number 7.
Number 8 is Texas at Oklahoma, and then number 9, Bama and Tennessee, third Saturday in October, which is in Knoxville. Should be a crazy game because the last time Bama was there, we watched it in my apartment. They lost on the last second field goal.
That was
It
crazy,
was an
man.
absolute shootout. Jalen Hyatt had 5 touchdowns and 200 yards.
I'm pretty sure I have a video of that
That
when
was
they
so sad,
missed.
man. That whole game is just sickening. And then Georgia at Ole Miss is number 10 to round out the top 10. We love that matchup as well. Me and Cody think Ole Miss might win that. So I guess we're gonna go through real quick, Cody. Let's just do one thing first. Let's when we're talking about the games, let's talk about who we think's winning and why, and then let's talk about just the reason why we, want to see this game so bad, like the players and then the coaches and that kind of talking point. But you can start with the Bama Georgia game.
Yeah, I mean, this game right here. I mean, it's number one for a reason. This is this is like a playoff game. This is the
Mhm.
SEC championship game right here. But if we get it in the regular season, yeah,
Really early too, by the way.
it's super early. What is it, like week 4, week 5?
That's after we actually get a bye before we play them, and they do too. But it's after we beat or hopefully beat Wisconsin, and then they'll be on the bye, and then they play Georgia.
Yeah, so week 5 we got them. Oh, I mean, obviously, who I'm going with. I'm going with Bama. I'll give you reasons why, but I would definitely say, I mean, I think our offense is going to be a little bit too much for them, and I think our defense and the crowd that's going to be there will catch them off guard.
Yeah, it is a
Obviously,
night game.
they're going to be ready. That's Kirby Smart's team. They're going to score. It's going to be a shootout probably like last year's SEC championship game, if I had to guess. Going to come down to a touchdown or a field goal of some sort.
It will be more of a shootout than that because it was 27-24 last year. I think this could definitely be in the 40s, 30s.
Oh, it could be.
It
Definitely
could
could
it
be.
could be. I just don't think Alabama's defense will be as ready to go early on. Georgia's, however, they might be, but I do think you're right. Like I think Alabama will have a lot of stuff to throw at Georgia that will be different than the past few years because of this new offense.
Right.
Now, I don't know. What else do you think? I was kind of thinking about early on in the game. I could see Alabama starting out slow, just kind of, getting the jitters out. It's a big game, obviously at night. Do you think this is a game where Bama will have like a back and forth the whole time, or are they going to have to come back down a couple scores and make this a crazy finish?
I'll say this. I'm glad we got that Wisconsin game before this game
I agree,
because
brother.
it's going to prove a lot. That people forget that Wisconsin, that stadium rocks. I've said it before on the podcast. That stadium's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The jump house for a reason. So I think that we will prove ourselves during that game. A lot of people are sleeping on that game, but I think we will prove ourselves that game and kind of show, okay, like Bama's legit. They just walked into Wisconsin and hopefully we handled them, but say if we do, like Bama just handled Wisconsin in Wisconsin, maybe they got a little bit more juice than we think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I agree. I saw somebody on the podcast earlier talking about Alabama's DBs are going to be tested in that Wisconsin game early because if they think apparently Wisconsin's going to be throwing the ball all around the field early in the season, or actually just in general, because that's what this is the guy that used to work for Nick Saban at Alabama, by the way. I can't think of his name right now. But anyways, he was saying if Bama's DBs can play solid against Wisconsin, then they'll feel good about the rest of the season. And I think that's what they need, Cody. They need to go into Wisconsin, get the dub, win by a couple scores, and then DBs, play pretty solid and give them that, confidence going into Georgia because they do have some wide receivers
that are
with,
really dumb.
Dylan Bell and I think Lovett and somebody else I'm not thinking of right now, but they're good wide receivers. They did lose a couple of pieces. Also Rara Thompson got arrested. That was just something I just thought about. Georgia's been dealing, yeah, as a wide receiver. He's going through it, but
It seems like that's what's been happening
Georgia's
for them.
yeah, they're getting in trouble, man. But we can keep the ball rolling, and we don't want to too much obviously about Bama. But number two, we talked about Texas at Texas A&M. Now that is the last regular season game for both these teams. Historically, this is when they
Talk about a
always
good one.
play. They play this game like usually on Thanksgiving. I don't know if it's not going to be
Yeah.
that this year though. It looks like because Thanksgiving is a little earlier than the 30th. So, anyways, they're playing that the last week of the season. Do we think this is Texas's one loss? Because honestly,
Very
I
well could.
actually not one loss. I'm sorry. I meant to say, is this Texas's hardest away game, is what I should be saying.
I mean, I would say this. They haven't been in that stadium in years, and it's
And it's
only
gotten bigger.
exactly. It's only gotten bigger and louder.
Yeah.
So that
Especially against Texas too.
exactly in-state rival. This, like I said, this rivalry was huge back in the day. Like
Yeah.
they hate each other, and now that it's coming back, I mean, it's going to be a great game. I'll be
I
locked
have
in.
I have a vivid memory. I was at my grandma's house in Atlanta, and like during Thanksgiving one year, it was 2009 when Bama and Texas went to the Natty, and I went to that game with my dad. But basically, before that, Texas had to win the Big 12. They were playing A&M on Thanksgiving at night, and I believe I can't remember who the kicker was, but the kicker for Texas hit a game winner. Almost positive that's how it went down. But you guys can let me know in the comments or whatever. But Texas did beat A&M. It was a crazy finish. That was when Colt McCoy was having a Heisman kind of year, but obviously Mark Ingram won it. And that was the last time I believe I watched them actually play. Now, I don't remember the other games after, but it's been a long time. It's a big game. I predict that for some reason, I just feel like Texas will have enough to win this game. But it will be a damn good game. That's for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, like
Damn good game.
I think it'll be a close, like probably a field goal
Because at that
chip shot.
point, yeah, you're like this is where your team is like probably going to be the best of the whole season. So Connor Wegman or whatever the quarterback for A&M at that point should be really dialed in. I think Texas will be locked in still, but they'll be a little bit look into the SEC championship maybe if they're going to it. So that might be a little trap. Obviously they'll be locked in because it is a rival and they haven't played them in a long time. So I'm gonna go with Texas in a close one though.
Yeah, I would say the same. I'm going with Texas, but I would not be shocked if Texas A&M beats them at home just
Yeah, I
because that
won't be either. This could be an
and
overtime game for real.
yeah, it really could be.
100%.
Yeah.
It that place is going to be rocking.
Yeah, yeah. So number 3 is still a Texas game. This one is earlier in the year, massive game. This is probably Texas's biggest home game.
Yep.
Georgia at Texas. So we are
Mhm.
honestly so pumped for this game, Cody, because we want to see both these teams really be tested because it feels like Alabama has been, they've been to Texas, they've played Georgia in the regular season already, they played them in the SEC championship, whatever. They've had Texas come to them last year. Now it's time to see Texas and Georgia go at it because the last time they played was in the Sugar Bowl when Sam Ehlinger beat Georgia in like 2020 or whatever that year was, 2019 or something. And that's when they were like that famous "we're back" and all that, and that kind of backfired on it for a few years.
Yeah.
Now, Georgia and Texas are at their peak. I feel like this is going to be a battle of who's probably number like 2 or 3 in the country, honestly, this week. I mean, this will be after Bama and Georgia play, so I'm assuming Bama beats Georgia, hopefully. I know Alabama could lose that game, obviously. I wouldn't be surprised. But let's
Yeah.
just say Georgia is at this point, like whatever they're going to be, 4-1 or 5-1 or whatever the record is, and Texas should be undefeated. I mean, they do got to play Michigan, but we think they're beating Michigan. So this could be a 6-0 Texas and like a 5-1 Georgia, I believe. To say all that, where do you think this dub or who does this dub go to? Because I'm not really sure off the top of my head. I want to say Texas, but I don't know, man.
Going Texas. I think Texas at home, they got all the firepower that's needed. They defense. I think I think I think kind of like the Bama game. It's going to could go into overtime, could be a chip shot field goal to win. I think this game is going to be high scoring. A lot of defense is going to matter in this game, just like the Bama game, just like we said. Uh, it's going to be really interesting to see how both these defenses fare at the beginning of the season, going into that middle part of the season.
Yeah.
So I think Texas will win, but like I said, with all the other 2 games, I won't be surprised if Georgia sneaks out that dub at Texas.
It's just really crazy to see Georgia go on the road against Alabama and Texas in the first 2 months of the season because you
Yeah.
never see Georgia get battle tested like this. This is why me and Cody have been saying, and it could very well come back to bite us, Cody. And we're okay to own our takes because we know Georgia is that one team that like they could definitely do it. But to say what I'm trying to say is basically Georgia is finally getting tested, and they could very well lose multiple games, and we would not be shocked. Because
No,
how you can't really get mad at them for losing a couple if they're going at Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss.
like that's
That's the
insane.
hardest. They got one of the hardest schedules I've seen, man.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Um, Clearly. So I'm gonna go. My gut is telling me for some reason Kirby's gonna get those boys locked in especially if they lose to Bama
Yeah.
after that. And I'm gonna say Georgia gets the dub just because Texas could be what's the week after? Does Texas play Oklahoma before? Okay, so Texas plays Oklahoma. Wow. Texas plays Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry right before that game, which is unbelievable. So
So they might
that
be fired up too.
dude, that will maybe they're gonna be hungover from the game against Oklahoma. And then they kind of sleepwalk into that Georgia game a little bit. I'm gonna say they get beat up in the Oklahoma game and they lose to Georgia. That's what I'm gonna say.
Hmm.
Georgia comes in and wins like 35-28 or something.
I could see that. Well, I didn't even know that at first, but yeah, I mean, that could really be the
I mean,
deciding factor.
it really
That
could be because you got to think about how like attrition and wear and tear, like it's the real thing, man.
and all I've been hearing out of Oklahoma is that their defense is
Yeah,
they're they're getting better with, especially with Brett Venables, him being a
yeah.
defensive. He wants his defenses top notch. So
He knows that rivalry better than anybody. He was at Oklahoma before, so I think they'll be locked in. Give
exactly,
me. We're gonna talk about the game later, actually. But
yeah,
anyways, number 4 is Tennessee at Oklahoma. We talked about this in the beginning. This is a sleeper game. Obviously, they have it at number 4, but some people might not be thinking about this. But Tennessee and Oklahoma will have really good offenses, we think. Now, I don't know how Oklahoma is going to run their offense, or who they're going to run their offense through. I believe they won't be as pass heavy as they have been in the past because they don't have Dylan Gabriel. They don't have obviously a Baker or Kyler or Jalen, whoever.
Yeah.
Their quarterback is a little dual threat. So I want to say Tennessee goes in there and gets the dub. They have a little bit, to me, more overall better offensive players. I think Squirrel White, the wide receiver, is pretty good. Yes, his name is Squirrel. And then the
That's
quarterback, Nico, he's a dog. So I don't know, man. The defense for Oklahoma could be good. Tennessee's defense might not be that great. Tennessee is going to be a solid team this year. Give me Tennessee in that Oklahoma game.
Yeah, I think I'm going Tennessee as well. I think this game right here is going to be high scoring. Like it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
But I think Tennessee, like you said, has too much firepower on the offensive side. Like Squirrel, I think he's gonna. I mean, he's a beast.
He'll have a
I
good
mean,
year. He'll have a good year,
yeah,
man.
I think he's the number one option on that team, and
He is for
Nico's going to
sure.
be stud. So I'm not saying anything bad about Oklahoma because I think they could win this game.
Yeah, Jackson Arnold is the quarterback for Oklahoma. He is from uh, Atlanta, Georgia, actually, and he is a sophomore. And to me, he's a good quarterback. We just don't know enough about him yet, so we got to see him develop this season. But I do think it'll be a tough game. Nico is a good quarterback. We saw him ball out in the bowl game. I think Tennessee gets it done. Like I said already, I just don't know how Oklahoma's going to really fare their first year in the SEC. I think they'll struggle way more than Texas.
Yeah.
That's early though. It's a week 3 game, so I mean anything's possible.
Yep.
Or week 4, but yeah. So number 5 is Bama at LSU. We know this is a huge rivalry. Obviously, we played them every year for a long time, and this game is always fun in Death Valley. And usually, the way this series works is the road team is honestly pretty good. Like historically, the teams playing on the road in this rivalry are always coming out on top for the most part, which is weird. But Alabama does pretty well there. I don't know. They did lose the last time they played in 2022 because that was that crazy game where Jaden Daniels and the Tigers went for it on the 2-point conversion to not even send it to OT just to go ahead and get the win in regulation, and they won on a pass to Mason Taylor, the tight end, who is the son of Jason Taylor, I believe. And
Yeah.
anyways, they beat Alabama. That was the last time Bama was there, but historically Bama plays pretty good there. Now, what do we think, Cody, at this point in the season? Will Bama be hitting their stride, or barring any injuries? Like I think they'll be hitting their stride. But what do you think? Is this going to be a really close
I think
game? Because I think it is. I personally think I've been thinking about this more. LSU is going to be pretty good this year, dude.
I think it's going to be a very close game. If we're not hitting our stride, we're going to walk in there and lose this game. That's how I
Yeah,
think. Like
yeah,
if we're on all cylinders, offensive, defensive, special teams, if we're not hitting on all cylinders, we're going to go in there and lose that game. You can't not go into Death Valley and be like extra prepared, more than 100%. You need to be
yeah.
102 prepared.
And Brian
Cover.
Kelly thinks that they're loaded. Like he thinks they got one of the best rosters that they've had. So
I mean, they might have. I mean, I know they're young. They're a younger group. I'm pretty sure they lost a lot to the draft, especially wide receiver wise.
yeah,
But
they're gonna have to prove it. But they
they're
got a
definitely
good quarterback. Nussmeier's gonna be solid.
Nussmeier's good. Yeah, Nussmeier's.
Harold Perkins on defense is a dog, one of the best linebackers in the country. He has been since he's been a freshman. He's going to be a junior this year.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
beast.
I got to look more into like just their DB play and stuff like that. But I would pay attention, obviously, when the season starts and kind of go ahead and start
Look,
scouting all these other teams out and getting a feel. But it's going to be really fun, man. I would say if Bama can look at the tape from last year, like the new staff, and see how Jalen Milrow really ran all over them. And he played well throwing. We just decided to run the ball that day, and he was doing the
yeah,
read option great. Scored many touchdowns. I think he had like 4, like off the rib. It was just a great game. I mean, it was really a back and forth. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas had a day. But later in that game, Bama pulled away, got some stops, got a pick, and won the game 42-28. So, do we think it is a similar game, or do we think this is a dog fight and it's going to be in the trenches and old school Bama LSU?
I think it's going to be dogfight in the trenches. I think how it's going to. This game really reminds me of when they had Mettenberger
Yeah,
when he came in. They when I watched when they played in the bowl game and Nussmeier played, he really reminded me of Zach Mettenberger.
Yeah,
So
and Alabama destroyed him whenever he came to Tuscaloosa. He was like literally crawling off the field when he got
yeah,
sacked.
Warren, like they scored, they hung with us for a little while. That's how I think it's going to be. Obviously, it's going to be that game wasn't in Death Valley, so I think it'll be
Yeah,
closer than the game. But if we're able to get, obviously, our pass rush has to get to Nussmeier because people don't know, but he's shifty, like he can move in the pocket.
right. Yeah,
But
you're right about that.
we're definitely gonna have to get to him, and I mean, you can say the same for LSU. LSU's gonna have to get Jalen Milroe on the ground and not let him have that time in the pocket or like what happened last year, run all over him.
Yeah,
This is going to be Milroe's first time playing, like starting in Death Valley. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he handles that crowd for the first time.
for
Because that,
sure.
just like Texas A&M crowd, like it's like no other.
We think this is probably one of the most hostile environments, and everybody agrees. This is
No,
like
for sure.
one of the toughest places.
It's insane. That's why they call it Death Valley because
Right.
walk in there and just beat LSU.
Alabama. So this is the little background real quick before we go to the next game. Alabama LSU first played in November 1895. Alabama lost 12-6. Now Alabama since then has dominated the series 56-27 and 5 ties. Um, and the longest streak Alabama had was 11 against LSU from 71 to 81, which is crazy.
That's
Now,
wild.
yeah, so we're gonna go into number 6, which is also another game in Death Valley. Crazy rivalry here, Ole Miss and LSU, which last year was a damn shootout.
Yep.
Don't think it's gonna be anything different. So Cody, hey, Ole Miss is gonna be good. LSU is gonna be really good. They're very similar. What do we think? I believe last year, I'm looking up the box score. This was a crazy game. 55-49, Ole Miss won this game last year.
Yeah.
Do
I
they
got.
get bounced this season because LSU's getting that revenge?
I think LSU will win this game. I think that crowd. Obviously, I think LSU is going to be a good team, just like Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to be really good.
Yeah.
Like they're projected really high and for a really good reason. But I just think that crowd, and I'm assuming it's probably going to be a night game.
Mhm.
That's going to be an insane environment. I just think LSU's going to have a little bit too much. They're going to be pumped with that crowd.
Mhm.
I think LSU sneaks this one out. I think they'll sneak this one out. Obviously, I think it's going to be a high scoring, just like last year's game. But I think LSU sneaks this one out. A little revenge game for LSU Tigers.
Okay. Yeah, man, I agree. I think really not a lot to address other than this is going to be a shootout like last year. Maybe not as high, 55-49 or whatever it was, but I do think it'll be close like that. And LSU, to me, will get the dub. I think Ole Miss will only suffer like 1 or 2 losses in the season, and this is their most challenging road game. So give me Ole Miss to lose. And after this, we're going to go into the game we want to go to this season, which is Missouri at
Yeah.
Alabama, number 7. October 26th, this is homecoming for Bama. Maybe it's a night game. Who knows? Hasn't been announced yet. Hopefully it is. Missouri, they have Brady Cook at quarterback. They got the wide receiver, Luther Burden, who is number 1 in the draft rankings coming up this next draft and could win the Blitnikoff. Now, Cody, I would say initially we thought Missouri would be undefeated up to this game. They could have game day here. Bama hopefully could be undefeated. Now, what do you think other than what I just mentioned? Is there anybody we need to be looking at on Missouri? I know they lost Cody Schrader, so I don't really know the running back room like that. But one last thing, I just think Bama gets this dub. I think they're ultimately a little too much for Missouri, and I want to say if Bama cannot stop Luther Burden, then they could be on upset alert.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I don't know who they usually have pretty good running back, so I'm sure they're going to rely heavy on that for the play action to get Luther in one-on-one coverage or try to at least.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, I think he'll win the Blitnikoff this year. He's going to be
yeah. I
insane.
have him as that dark horse Heisman.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's going to go off this year. But like I said, I think they're going to pass a little bit more. They relied on Cody Schrader last year a lot. Like he was a
Yeah,
dog but I think they'll definitely try to pass more this year since they don't have that experience at running back like they
yeah,
did with Cody. So, but I think walking into Bama, that crowd, we've said we're assuming it's probably going to be a night game.
Yeah, we think it should be a night game.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be
Because we
surprised
looked at the other matchups that week. It doesn't really seem like there's too many loaded games. So
yeah. But
yeah, should be a
I
great
would
one
definitely.
though.
I mean, I think Bama. It's going to be close at first. Probably at halftime, it could be tied or like
Like
one of
14-14 or 17-17 or something. Or
one of them up by like 3 or something like that. But I think in the second half, Bama dials it back in and gets a few stops and scores a little. I think it's going to kind of like the LSU game was last year,
yeah.
how it was neck and neck up until the third quarter, and then we kind of started getting more stops and
Yeah,
really.
I'll be interested to see if they kind of trust at that point in the season our star cornerback one, hopefully Dominic Jackson, number one. He could be the guy that steps up for Bama this year. He's supposed to be the best guy that we have. Now maybe they kind of just bracket with two guys, Luther Burden, bringing a safety over the top every now and then, or whoever else they got, somebody at nickel like um Devontae Smith, which is yes, Alabama does have another Devontae Smith for those listening. And they have a Justin Jefferson, both on defense. So one's
Yeah.
a safety and the other's a linebacker. So to say all that, it should be interesting to see how they cover Luther Burden. But yeah, if they're doing 1-on-1 and it's like the old school Nick Saban defensive, let's just play man to man, let's press, let's do all that, like let's blitz and just hope that they can beat us or hope they don't beat us, then yeah, that will be interesting. But Bama will have a different scheme. We know that they're going to be a little different this year with the whole 4-2-5 defense, and it should be fun. But we'll stop yapping and keep going. We have three more. Texas Oklahoma is number 8, the Red River rivalry. So we talked about this earlier. I kind of alluded to basically thinking Texas and Oklahoma will beat upon each other, and then I had Texas losing to Georgia after that. So I think what I was going to say was Texas gets this dub. Oklahoma's not as good as Texas.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, like I said before, I think defensively Oklahoma's going to be pretty good, and I think they'll be able to hang with Texas, but not get the dub. I think it'll be another shootout, another thriller like it was last year. And I believe Oklahoma won last year in a shootout.
I think you're
And
right.
yeah, it was a crazy game. Dylan
It
Gabriel went off,
was. Yeah.
but yeah,
It's
I got
34 to 30, Oklahoma.
yeah, crazy game. But I got Texas squeaking out a dub at Oklahoma. I think it's gonna like just like last year's high scoring game. I just think Texas has a little bit too much firepower.
Well, it is technically it's always in the Cotton Bowl. So it's a neutral site game. So there's no, it's 50-50. So that's one thing.
Forget it's in the
Yeah.
Cotton Bowl. Well, never mind. Well, yeah, I think regardless, Texas is winning that game, but
Right.
Oklahoma would a really good fight against them.
Yep. Yep. Number 9 is Alabama at Tennessee. We talked about this too. This game I'm scared of, Cody. You know that we think Neyland Stadium is a crazy atmosphere. Bama lost that last game by a field goal, and now Nico Iamaleva, I believe is how you say it, is going to be there, and he is going to be good, man. So I'm just worried about our secondary. Could be another shootout. I hope it's not, but I feel like it is, and that could
Feel
be
like
really dangerous for Bama. So I'm gonna say Bama gets a dub only because I don't really think Tennessee's roster overall is as good, but I want to say Alabama at that point in the season will have seen enough from Georgia and Wisconsin, and I think that they'll be able to get a close win, man. But Bama's gonna have a lot on their hands that day.
yeah, I would definitely say the same. This goes hand in hand with what I said about LSU. If they're not completely dialed in, ready to walk in there and fight for a dub, then they're not going to win.
Yeah.
This team, Tennessee team is too good.
We're on the
They're
same page though. The Bama's definitely hopefully could go undefeated, but at the same time we're very realistic in the sense of they usually lose a game, and that's the game that we've been talking about is Alabama, Tennessee, or Alabama, LSU. Now you'd be like, oh, what about Georgia? Alabama and Georgia, we know how Alabama's had Georgia's number. So they've won like 5-1 the last 6 games against Georgia. We want to see Georgia on the road, and then we'll reevaluate that. But realistically, we know Alabama at Tennessee and Alabama at LSU was a scary, scary game.
and that's where our past upsets have been. They're in both of these stadiums.
Right.
I mean these are nightmare stadiums for any college football team in
We
the
lost.
land.
We lost both those games on the last play that year, and that's why we didn't make the playoffs. When we had Bryce Young and Jamison Williams and all, or not Jamison, we had Bryce Young though, and just Jameer Gibbs. I'm sorry, Jameer Gibbs. So it was
Yeah,
like, why did we have to waste that talent. And Pete Golding was a terrible DC. We know all that. Like, hopefully this year we don't have that kind of in-depth defensive play calling, and like we just kind of lock in for these games and don't give up 5 touchdowns. I was about to say the damn word, but 5 touchdowns to Jalen Hyde again. Thankfully he's not there, but Squirrel White, please don't do that.
We,
Anyways, that should be
we,
a fun game. I don't think it'll be 52 to wherever it was, 49 or whatever. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Last game on the list before we can move on is number 10, Georgia at Ole Miss. We think this game is going to be a dog fight. No pun intended. Ole Miss, man, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm doing it. Ole Miss, it's crazy because we got Georgia losing some games this year, man. But I'm just gonna stick to it, and I'm gonna say Ole Miss gets this dub. For some reason, it's like Ole Miss is due for a dub like this.
yeah, just a prime time big dub for Ole Miss. And it's not like we have Georgia losing all these. Like we think Georgia's going to beat
It's a
Texas out.
toss up. Like it's a toss up, man.
Toss up for all these 10 games on here.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but
so that's like, yeah, right. Sure.
but I think Ole Miss offensively they could have the best offense in the SEC. I mean, honestly, they really. And I don't know. Georgia's offense, obviously Carson Beck is one of the top QBs in the nation, and I think he's going to have a great season. I'm
We're just
I'm
not
just
high on Georgia because, like, literally, they just never play teams like this over and over and
yeah.
over through a course of the season. So, like, I'm sorry. I just want to see it first. Like, I know Georgia's great. I know that. You don't got to tell me that. I grew up in Georgia. I had the Georgia friends, man. They always were good, with Mark Rick and even, all those players back then, Aaron Murray and Matthew Stafford and AJ Green, O'Shawn Marino. We know how good they are. Roquan Smith. Like, there's all these dogs, dude. We know how good Georgia is, but it's like this year is different because they did lose Brock Bowers. They did lose what's his name to the draft. He was number 1, Rosemary St. Jack or whatever his long last name. He was a good wide receiver for them. They did lose Kamari Lassiter on defense. They lost other pieces. Yes, they have a good recruiting class every year. Yes, they have Kirby Smart. Yes, Carson Beck is getting gassed up, but like they're still going through a weird offseason where like a lot of guys are getting in trouble. A lot of stuff's going on. They got a lot of pressure. You're going into Texas. You're going into Bama, going into Ole Miss. If they go 9-3 and all those losses are the games that we just mentioned on the road, I will not be shocked. If they go 12-0, I will not be shocked.
Nope.
That's it. And I just want to end it like that for me. But
that's it.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Well, there we
I like that. We talked through that. Sorry, Seth. I know it's not,
Hey man,
we don't
I'll
want
get there.
We don't want to exclude you.
No,
but
it's okay.
If you could, sir, I'm gonna send you another graphic, Seth, real quick. Is that okay? We're gonna talk about okay. We're gonna talk about this next thing. We want to talk about the Olympics. Basically, we already mentioned before. Me and Seth talked about Cody last week how in the preliminary games USA went 5-0. They struggled a little bit against, oddly enough, South Sudan, and they played them next. And they played a close game with Serbia. They obviously beat them, which we're about to talk about. So to say all that, they did their first game they played, I believe, was against Canada. They had Shea, Gilgeous-Alexander, and Dylan Brooks and Jamal Murray, people like that. So they kind of look good against them. But we're about to dive into this. I'm sending the graphic as soon as I can get it. So other than that, have you guys looked at any? Sorry, Cody, go ahead.
I haven't watched none of them. Nothing.
Okay, but you've kept up maybe on Twitter or like social media, I guess.
Yeah, on social media, Twitter and stuff like that. I just haven't watched anything of it.
I got you. All right, Seth, I'm sending it to
you. Y'all can talk about this because I haven't kept up with.
There's really not a lot. I mean, it's really just what I pretty much already said. I'm just trying to send this picture.
Yeah.
But basically, so LeBron did carry the flag for the United States when they went to the ceremony. He was the first basketball player ever in the Olympics for the United States to do that, to carry the flag, which is pretty cool for us and for him and all the basketball lovers. Now, 39 years old, LeBron James is still doing his thing. Seth, I just sent you the graphic. He actually played one of the better games I've seen LeBron play recently, which was 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Now, you know, you still got a lot of dogs on this team. So it's not like LeBron's clear cut the number one player on the team, but he was voted by all the other USA players that he's the best player on the team. He is still LeBron James. He's still the the oldest and has the most leadership, the wisdom, all that. Say all that. Another guy that's in that same breath is Kevin Durant, who Cody did not put in his top five when he or his starting lineup, and we told him this is the
This is
guy that is
crazy.
the Olympic record holder for most points. And anyways,
Sorry.
he
Sorry.
Yeah,
was
you know,
he was
he
8
put
for 8, by the
he
way, until
put
he
Jason
missed.
Tatum in, who I don't
Didn't
think saw the
even
court.
didn't even play.
I don't think he saw the court.
Yeah, he had to go run some errands. Get
Oh,
He was
that's right. I forgot.
still recovering from that championship.
Yeah.
So Kevin Durant did go 8 for 8, and then he missed
Yeah.
five. He was 8 of 9, 5 for 5 from three, 23 points, and he was just balling, dude. So
Balling.
it's really fun to watch Team USA right now because of the big three, which is LeBron, KD, and Steph, and then you have the young guns like Anthony Edwards. Obviously, there's Tatum who didn't play. Joel Embiid got benched early on because he is looking bad. He's looking like he's a foul merchant and he cannot hang in these FIBA rules.
Not can hang.
But almost blessed myself like Quentin Williams did. Um,
Bless you.
Thank you. Anyways, so they do play South Sudan Wednesday, who literally gave them
Almost, yeah.
a crazy game the other week.
We'll see how that
And
plays out.
I saw that they're like a new country the last 11 years or so, which is crazy. They don't have any indoor courts. We already talked about that, Seth. They apparently are getting funded. All of their travel and other things are getting funded by a former NBA player, Luau Dang, who was a good
Oh,
role player, good shooter, good 3-point shooter for some of the like LeBron teams really. And he's funding them. So that's how they've been getting better. But they're going to be scrappy bunch. Team USA now knows, I think, who to run the offense through, which would be Ooh, I'm about to drop another F bomb. Kevin Durant. And you can't stop. You just got to keep
can't
giving him the
stop it.
ball until he misses. And then if not him, I'll go LeBron. And if not him, I'll go Steph. And then if not him, I'd probably go like Ant or Devin Booker, who's been in the lineup a lot. Now, is there anybody else I'm leaving out? I mean, I feel like they're not going to play Halliburton, which we talked about. Why is he there? Tatum will play more because Steve Kerr said he would feel like an idiot for not playing him.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid will play less. Bam Adebayo will play a lot, and Anthony Davis will play a lot because they're really good.
Bingo.
Is there anything that we want to talk about other than that? Do we think they're winning gold? Is it like for
I
sure
think they're
locked
winning
in?
gold.
I think they're winning.
They better win gold.
I mean, Serbia was pretty good, but they beat them by a lot, 110-84. Now Canada's pretty good. I saw today Germany beat Brazil. Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner got the dub for Germany.
Yeah. France got the dub, Victor.
Yeah, France and Victor had a good day. Australia's still in there, I believe.
Almost lost to Japan.
Oof, Rui Hachimura.
Yeah. He had like
So
almost 30.
he's a dog. Anyways, I think they get gold too. It's going to be interesting to see how they get gold, who they got to play. But they're in the group play still, and I believe like how it works is it's like soccer. I think a win is 2 points, um, something like that. And then but you can't tie. It's not like soccer, so you don't tie, you don't whatever. But to say all that, USA should get out the group play as the best team in the group, and then we'll hopefully take care of business down the stretch. But we just wanted to talk about that. Do we think LeBron can keep this up the rest of the Olympics and the next season in the NBA?
For sure.
100%.
There's
Yeah.
no decline
100%.
yet. Not yet.
No doubt in my mind.
About to be
He could probably
40.
do this for like 2, 3 more years, I think.
Dude, I really think he could do it for like 5, but he's
I'm
not.
not gonna lie, he's not. Yeah,
Yeah, but he could.
he definitely could.
He could. So yeah, KD is. I think KD's actually the guy that could play for like ever because he
Yeah.
literally only loves basketball and hates. Like he doesn't really talk to people. He doesn't have a life outside of basketball.
He was in the club practicing a shot.
Yeah, practicing that form, bro. That's crazy. No bottles.
No bottles.
No B words. Nothing.
No B words. Nope.
Nothing, man. Just actually one B word, and that's basketball. That's all he knows.
That's all it. That's the only B word I know.
And yeah, what else? I think that's it for USA, man. I've been watching a little bit of the Olympics with Logan. We've watched a bunch of stuff. Gymnastics has been entertaining for her, and I think it's been interesting. And then there's been skateboarding, which I saw yesterday, was kind of cool. There's been swimming, which was fun. I always like watching that. But USA should get a lot of medals and hopefully gold, but definitely basketball. So,
100%.
To say all that, we are done going into all of the main sports. We're going back into fantasy football to end the show once again. Would you rather? This time, same structure. We've got like two rounds. First round starts with the quarterbacks. We go wide receiver, running back, tight end, and then we go back to the top, do quarterbacks, wide receiver, running back, tight end again. So this one's a tough one. I feel like I try to keep it pretty even as far as the guys that I'm comparing. I'll ask you guys, and whoever wants to chime in can chime in. Fantasy Football 2024. This is PPR, guys. Would you rather Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson? And yes, I had to do it.
Oh my god, bro!
Give me Kirk this year. Give me Kirk.
You already know where I'm standing here. It's Kirk, man. Especially if Russ is hurt.
Dude, it's just so fun because I loved Kirk so much on the Vikings, and now
should have got him on the Steelers, man.
You're placing him up against my QB.
Yeah,
that's where you fucked up. My bad.
Yeah,
give me Russ.
Yeah. I mean, hey, why do you think Russ? Any explanation?
I think Russ because he's in the most goated offense of all time now.
Are we really allowed to say that? Okay. Have fun with Arthur Smith, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Have fun with Arthur Smith.
Is George Pickens is going for 2K because all Russ has to do is throw the rock up.
He did. Hey, George Pickens had a one-handed snag in the end zone today from
I saw
Justin Fields
over JPJ.
Now, what if I asked you this? If Justin Fields was a starter the whole season, would you rather have Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins?
Justin Fields.
Because they're rushing upside, right?
Yeah,
if
100%.
Steelers player, that's who he's picking.
Yeah, Cody.
And we're really about to see who's better, Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins week 1.
Yeah.
All right, week 1.
We have the whole season though. It's not just week 1, but we gonna get the dub. We're gonna be there. Just know, hey, hopefully by then, man, maybe we can live stream it somehow on some, not the game necessarily, but before or whatever. What we're up to, we'll try to make some content for that. It'll be cool
on Instagram or something.
We'll make some videos that weekend, and we'll hopefully make like a little vlog almost, like to post on YouTube.
That would be sick.
We can get a little camera going and work through that, but that'd be fun, man. So yeah, let's keep going here. That's interesting though, to say the least. This is wide receiver. Would you rather? Some big names here: Devontae Adams or AJ Brown.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
that was a fast one. That was a fast one, brother.
But we're talking about like, would you rather that receiver
for this year?
In fantasy.
Devontae Adams.
I'm taking
AJ Brown. Give me
AJ Brown.
I want Devontae.
Jalen and AJ Brown, man. They're just too good.
Yeah, Jalen and AJ. I mean, I don't even know who the quarterback is for the Raiders. That's how Gardner up in there Minshew. It is.
Give me Devontae Smith over AJ Brown.
Whoa.
I
think we did kind of talk about that a while ago.
That's crazy take.
It's not that crazy.
It's not that wild.
It could be
kind of crazy.
Could be crazy. Running back right here is interesting. I feel like this is two guys. One's on my team, one's on set. Actually, a guy I just traded for, and we haven't talked about that. I'm sure everybody hates it, but got a vision.
Yeah. Cody, you saw that BS trade, man?
No, he's been trying to trade with me, but I said.
Oh, I know he has.
Cody, I just traded a couple days ago for Mr. Isaiah Pacheco. So, would you rather have Isaiah Pacheco or DeAndre Swift?
Give me Pacheco. Give me my little pistachio.
My little pistachio.
Your little pistachio? That's crazy. Give me Pacheco as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. Even though I have Swift on my team, I'm taking Pacheco over Swift.
Yeah.
Hey, Swift was, I think, finished higher than him last year.
He might have, but Pacheco just runs with such force, man.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Pacheco did miss 3 games last year, but I did the math before I made the trade. I was like, if he played all 17, he would have finished as RB7 if he kept up his
Would he?
average. Yeah, he
Would
would
he
have.
though?
Yeah, I was like, if he kept up the 16 points per game, he would have been around like
Cody's. Would
245
you
or
think he was
50.
gonna keep up to 16 points a game?
Yeah, I
Oh, I
mean, this is 3 games.
think you would have doubled him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, he could have
we
been
don't
top
want
five.
that.
Could have been top
We
five
don't
there.
want that.
Give me Pacheco.
I do think he'll be on a little bit of a. I don't know. Bears are gonna be nice though. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it's close, but Pacheco does get it done. And going off of that, would you rather these 2 tight ends here, both pretty young? One is on Seth's team again. Not trying to do this, but Seth's just got all the fun players, man. Would you rather have Brock Bowers or Jake Ferguson this year in fantasy football?
Give me Brocky.
Give me give me Brock. Give me Brock. Give me Brock. Give me
Yeah.
Brock.
Come on, Cody. Yeah, Cody.
Jake's pretty
Cody.
good though. Jake's pretty good,
Give
man.
me Fergalicious Jake Ferguson.
Fergalicious dope. Yeah, no, he might.
Fergalicious the Cody.
He might
Cody
keep it up,
Licious,
man.
was that the nickname that you
Oh,
got?
I forgot you got Cody Licious, man.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So Cody Licious
Hit it,
rocking with
Cody.
Fergalicious. I
I'm
can
right.
respect that.
Ferg.
I can respect.
I had Jake Ferguson last year. He was good, man. He was good.
He's a beast.
Would you rather these 2 young quarterbacks? Would you rather have Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray
Jay Herbo.
this season?
Yeah.
Really?
Man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to disagree on that one.
I like Herbert and the McConkey connection.
I like Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr.
I like.
Give me Kyler's rushing upside over Justin Herbert and Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison.
I just like Herbert a little bit more than Kyler personally.
I know Seth's got Justin Herbert. Seth has all these players, dude.
Yeah, I got Justin Herbert low key.
Yeah, Seth.
I'm gonna
Let's
say,
go.
I'm gonna say Kyler. The rushing upside a little bit. Okay, that's a good one though. Would you rather have Mike Evans or Cody's guy and my guy, Devontae Smith?
Mike Evans.
Really? So you would rather have Devontae Smith over AJ Brown, but Mike Evans over Devontae Smith?
Cody.
Mhm.
Mike Evans is a trip away from ending his career.
When you've had multiple thousand, like what's he had, like 10,000 yard season, you can't deny that. That's pure insanity right there. Give me them numbers every day. Put that in my bag and I'm walking out. Say thanks. I got a little Mikey.
So you would rather have him over AJ Brown, right?
I don't like AJ Brown.
Oh, it's because the Titans.
Titans, yeah.
All right.
No, I do.
Honestly,
like
I'm gonna think about this.
Devontae, because he's a Bama Smith.
I saw a video talking about Mike Evans might regress a little bit, but it's hard, man. Like you brought up the good point about the 10 straight 1,000-yard years. Devontae Smith's a dog, but there's Saquon to feed. There's AJ Brown.
So much.
Give me Mike Evans because Baker loves him, by the way. So
yeah.
Yep, I'll take Mike after that logic right there.
That sounds like pretty good logic to me.
It does.
All right. And then a couple more here. Jonathan Taylor or Kyron Williams? Who would you rather have?
That's tough.
That's a tough one.
That's
super tough. They're getting drafted around the same spot.
I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor.
Really? Kyron Williams was going crazy last year, bro.
Yeah, but he's about to get benched.
He's about to get benched. I just don't want him in Dynasty, but if we're talking about for one season, hey.
What you talking about, man?
What you mean?
What you mean, man?
He was number 6 in PPR for running backs last year, and he still missed. He only played 12 games and was RB6.
I'll say this. AR's back. I think a lot of that running it's gonna be taken out of JT, but just because how AR is, and you don't got to deal with that with Matthew Stafford. He's a statue. He's just gonna stand there and sling.
That is facts.
Yeah. I honestly am gonna go Kyron for this season because of that.
The read option.
No.
Kyron Williams is really good, man, if he can stay healthy. But So is JT, dude. He's just
He
been
is.
the last 2 years. JT has not been healthy.
He hasn't.
Really not.
Especially in that offense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're going to be good. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I'll go Kyron.
Last
one. Last one is tight ends here. Would you rather have David Njoku or Dallas Goedert?
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas Goedert. 100%. Just because of, I feel like, I mean, the
I'm
David
gonna
Njoku is
go.
good,
I'm
but
gonna go to Njoku.
I just feel like he doesn't get the.
Because I mean, we've seen his upside before. Like he's been a top 5 tight end. I
Njoku
mean,
was number 6 last year.
yeah. I mean, Dallas Goddard. I think Dallas Goddard got injured last year. I'm pretty sure.
He did, and that's kind of like part of the reason why I don't want him. Also, he is going to have to fight for these catches because who's
But I
gonna
mean, you could say the same
Oh,
about
wait,
Njoku.
yeah.
Njoku?
That's true.
Yeah, but Njoku doesn't have like a running back that's gonna take a lot of the catches away because like Saquon's gonna be lined up a wide receiver. They'll throw him the ball a lot. Plus AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Nick Chubb ain't catching the ball like that.
No, not anymore.
I'm just thinking Dallas Goedert. He was number 15 last year. Historically, let's see, he was number 14 last year, number 12, number 11, number 21, number 10, number 21. That's how
Oh,
he's
so top 5. I thought he said top 5.
He really honestly never really gets that many targets.
Yeah. It's like he'll have that one massive game and then he'll have a
But
streak of.
Njoku's finished top 10 the last 2 years, and he had a top 10 season in 2018.
Okay.
So I'm gonna lean Njoku barely.
I think I'll go Goddard.
I'm going Goddard still.
So I don't like the Browns. You don't.
I don't.
I think Watson and Njoku have a good connection, but that's
I
it.
don't know, man.
We'll see. We got a lot of predictions this year that we're gonna be keeping track of, and we'll be going back and looking at all this. But I think we're in for a great year, boys. We got football coming up, so we'll talk about that on the show next week. And obviously, from there, we're gonna be pretty slammed as far as like our lives, and it's gonna be consumed with work, and then if not work, it's football.
It's
And
football.
fantasy football
100%.
podcast talking about it, hopefully uploading more than we have been. And then that's when we feel like our show can really start hitting its stride because we'll have all the craziness to talk about during the week for whatever different games that are coming up and players, matchups and fantasy, bets. It's gonna be crazy. We talk about this, Cody. We're gonna probably have to do a show like we're doing right now on Tuesday night, upload it on Wednesday, and then Friday record and then upload it on like Saturday morning.
It's just too much to talk about.
Yeah, we can't.
Last week's games
Yeah,
and then the
we
next
like
week's.
we like have to have 2 1-hour shows a week, and I
Yeah.
know we're all busy with work. We'll make it work, whatever our schedules are looking like. But we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna get creative here, guys. Hopefully we can do some stuff together in person. We'll start experimenting with that before the season starts. But yeah, we're gonna try to do some stuff, create the content on the go, like we talked about for these games that we're going to. Maybe we'll do it for the Bama Missouri game, Cody. That'd be fun. We can make a little vlog that weekend.
Yeah, that could be a lit
the Falcons Bucks game. Maybe we'll make a little content there.
Yeah.
We'll try to do that for you guys. So stay tuned. Those are the 3 games: Falcons and Steelers, Falcons, Bucks, and Bama and Missouri that we're thinking about going to so far. And we'll see if we can change any plans and go to some other fun games. Hopefully, we win some bets, and we can do that.
We can really do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you guys once again for joining the Muffed Sports Show. I'm Hayden Haynes. That's Seth Killen and Cody Hart. We are live, hopefully during the season, and if not, you can follow us, and we'll be uploading clips on TikTok, Instagram at Muffed Sports, YouTube at Muffed Sports, all that good stuff. We're gonna work on a Twitter, hopefully too. We've been talking about that.
Oh yeah.
But thank you guys. Keep tuning in, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate everybody. Have a good week. Peace out.
See you, boys. And
See you guys.
women.
And women.